Welcome to today's tutorial from the TwinSAFE department. Today we have a very short tutorial. We are looking at TwinSAFE Motion Wizard project, which is communicating with an EL6910 as we used it in the last tutorials, and we want to retarget this safety project to an EL1918 as new target system. My name is Martin Früchtel from the Product Management Safety. After some basic information about today's tutorial and a description of our demo system, we go over to the live demonstration in TwinCAD 3. And last but not least, I give a short outlook to the next tutorial. As mentioned before, today we take an existing EL6910 project, which is communicating with a safety project as a result of the TwinSAFE Motion Wizard, and we want to transfer that EL6910 project to an EL1918 as a new target system. As prerequisites today, you need a TwinCAD 3 version greater or equal to 4024.11, a TE9000 version greater or equal to 1211. You need a TwinSAFE firmware on the AX8000 greater or equal to 03. And an AX8000 firmware greater or equal to 0104 with the default module ID active. As you see here, both the TwinSAFE firmware and the AX8000 firmware is irrelevant for today. We just mention it because we take that hardware for today's tutorial, but basically it's always the same no matter which targets you are using. If you are using an EL6910 communicating with an EL1904 or EL2904, it's always the same proceedings. The start of today's tutorial is a TwinCAD 3 project with a standard PLC, a EL6910 project, and the already mentioned TwinSAFE Motion Wizard project for the AX8000. As hardware today, we are using an CX for the EtherCAT communication and the standard PLC. We have an EL6910 as a master TwinSAFE logic. The EL6910 is talking on the one hand to an EL1918, which has a light barrier connected, and the EL6910 is talking to an AX8000 in the X2XX safe motion version. And the required functionality is we want to change that architecture with a centralized EL6910 talking to the EL1918 and the AX8000 and change it to an architecture where the EL1918 is the centralized logic and this EL1918 is talking to the AX8000 and the EL6910 is not used anymore. So now we can already start with our live demonstration. We have our TwinCAD 3 project with an existing NC configuration, I/O configuration with our standard PLC, and we also have two safety projects, one called Safe Motion Demo Project, which is for the AX8000, but we won't touch that today because we only want to change the motion control project for the EL6910. So in the first step, we open up the target system configuration. We change the target system type to EL1918 and map it to our EL1918. When we choose saving, we get a dialog which is asking us if we want to delete the old process image. Every time you change something within the safety editor, the process image of the target system may be changed. So the EL6910 still has the old process image, and we can acknowledge that the old process image should be changed. Then we get a dialog which is telling us that not all links can be recovered for the new target system. For the target system itself, we still have to change the safe address. The red safe address from the EL19 is 1. The EL6910 had the safe address 7. So with choosing the green arrow, we can take over the safe address. And now we have the case that the EL1918 is already the target system, but we still have in our safety project the configuration of an alias device EL1918, as slave of the EL6910. So in the next step, we go to the EL1918 alias device, and under the tab linking, we can choose the linking mode. Automatic is if you are using standard safety slaves like the EL1904, EL2904, or any new component as default configuration. But now we want to use the EL1918 as target system. So we want to access the local process image, the internal process image. So in that step, we have to choose local. And the last step is reconnecting all the alias devices. So for the AX8000, we map it to the AX8000, and also for the other AX8000. This step is only needed because the connections to the AX8000 is based on custom connections. If you are using standard safety slaves like the 1904, 2904, this is done automatically. And last but not least, we have to reconnect the standard alias devices, the error acknowledgement, and the run. And basically that was all for the retargeting. Last step is to download the safety project. So we choose multi-download. As you can see, the AX8000 projects haven't changed. So we only download the EL1918. We verify the serial number and enter the username and password and start the download. We verify the CRC and activate the project by re-entering the password. Because we changed the process image of both the old EL6910 and the EL1918, we have to activate the configuration so the new process image is up and running. And basically the safety project is now running as before, just without an EL6910. So we go to the safety application to check if everything is working. When activating the online view, we see our eStop functionality, and after restarting the group, we see that the SSO-STO signal is going to the connection. So we go to the AX8000 project, to the channel A error handling, to check if the STO is coming to the AX8000. After activating the online view, we see that the STO command comes to the AX8000. So in the best case, we can now just go over to the NC configuration, enable the controller, and move the drive as expected. So now we are finished with retargeting. So in practice, we can also remove the EL6910 from our IO configuration and in hardware, and everything works without an EL6910. That was all for today's tutorial. In the next tutorial, we take a look at safe limited speed with gantry access. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope we will hear us again in the next tutorial.